Let's start with the Miss America because that happened in New York, didn't it?
Happened in New York. She lived in a very exclusive building in the city, and allegedly, I don't hear anybody questioning the cause of death. So far, they've reported that she committed suicide. No note other than allegedly, again, because I wasn't there. She left a note saying she's leaving all of her earthly possessions to her mom, and that was it.
That was it. Anybody have any idea what she might have been going through beforehand?
So far, I haven't seen any reports about what she was going through. What I know is that she's an extremely accomplished woman. What I know is that she was a highly educated woman. And what I know is that according to some of her posts on her social media accounts, and I'm getting this from other people who said this is what she posted because I didn't really follow her. I'm not really a big follower of celebrities because I don't usually really, need to be in their life like that. That she said she was having, a hard time having dealt with what it takes to get to where she got, both culturally as a woman to get to that level of success of celebritydom. I'm sure there's some compromises, some sacrifices made along the way.
Especially with the pageant route, because God knows what those judges are asking the girls to do.
God knows what the judges are asking. I mean, it could be a whole eyes wide shut situation. I mean, there's lots of beautiful women. The ones they pick for Victoria's Secret and the USA and Miss World. I mean, it's an exclusive club.
Right.
And exclusivity breeds all kinds of things.
Yep.
So I think maybe, whatever deal she made with herself to get to where she got might have overwhelmed her. I know as a woman of color how difficult it is to maintain an identity in a professional arena that really hasn't sowed the playing field for people like you to be there, So whether it's passively or aggressively or unconsciously, you're always dealing with something.
Mm-hmm. And we should go and say her name. Her name was Chelsea Christ. She won 2019 Miss USA. She was also a lawyer.
Yeah, she's a brilliant, accomplished, classy, gracious woman from what I've read and seen of her so far.
Yeah, Wake Forest University School of Law. That's not Bobo's clown school. You know what I mean?
No, she's not a Momo at all.
Yeah, Wake Forest University undergrad, like
I swear.
And yeah, you can only imagine the type of shit. Like you're absolutely right. It totally could have been some Ice White shit because like there's tons of beautiful women, but we want you to do this pageant. You'll be Miss USA. Oh, you could be one of the very few. I think we've had a Black Miss USA before, but like, you could be the first one in like 25 years or something. Like,
let's not forget, like,
just come to this
Williams.
party.
Yeah. I mean, let's not forget Vanessa Williams was like one of the first Black Miss Americas, and they stripped that crown off her head so fast because she had taken some like nude photos. And who knew? Fast forward 20 years later, nude photos launch careers now.
Oh, I did not know this.
Oh yes, this is a little before your time.
They snatched her Miss America crown or Miss USA crown because she had taken some nude photos.
And they found out after she won, and they humiliated her and tried to end her career because of it.
Wow.
Vanessa Williams. And that woman went out and rebuilt her career prior to marrying Rick Fox.
Yeah, she like epitomizes class now.
And she epitomizes class. And they dragged her through the mill when those photos came out because she was with another woman.
Mm-hmm.
And they made it sound like she compromised the integrity of the pageant, that whole thing. They snatched that crown off her head.
Wow. Was this like an artistic photo shoot? Was this like private photos or just meant for like her ex-boyfriend or something? Or like, and then like, this was a leak. Like she didn't put these out, right?
No, she didn't put these out. I don't remember it because it was so long ago. I don't remember the exact details, but I remember that it was with another woman. I remember she was almost nude and it cost her career at the time. Let me see if I can find some research on it real quick.
Yeah, they tried to end her. I can only imagine this had to be what, in the 80s?
Yeah, let me pull it up. Yeah, she was crowned in 1984.
She snatched in 85.
She's from New York, by the way. I've always loved Vanessa Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Nonetheless, Vanessa Williams pageant losing crown.
Wow.
Oh yeah, she was pressured to relinquish her title and was
That's how they do it.
succeeded, right, by the first runner-up, Miss New Jersey.
Because Lord knows if she had bucked the system and said no.
So she was
They might
stripped
have
of her
killed her.
crown. Right. She was stripped of her crown as a result of a scandal over nude photos that were published in Penthouse magazine and became the first Miss America to resign in 1984. But the black community stayed in support of her. And allegedly 32 years later, the pageant apologized to her.
32 fucking years later.
That's like, Joan of Arc, the church like demonized her and she was burned at the stake. And then 500 years later, the church was like, that was foul. Sorry. Similar situation. So, the pageants have rules and parameters, and we don't know how those parameters and rules wore on this woman.
You thought that you murked her out. You thought that you ruined her career. You thought she'd be working at McDonald's. She'd be a manager by now, though. You know what I mean?
Vanessa Williams was the real deal, just like our pageant winner who we recently lost was the real deal. And I think this speaks to the constant attack against professional women of color who, tick off all the boxes of what it takes to be successful. And then when they do, somehow still get slapped on the wrist. I mean, that's what's happening to Whoopi Goldberg. I mean, there are people.
You got to be perfect, and even when you're
perfect, you got to be perfect. And there are people who said way worse shit on TV than what Whoopi Goldberg said, and still have careers.
But she immediately apologized.
So here's the thing: I didn't think what she said was wrong, but it wasn't untrue.
And the point she was trying to make is still a point that is valid, particularly in academic circles and stuff.
I agree.
Was it a mistake to say it the way she said it? Absolutely. Did she apologize immediately? Absolutely. She recognized that she hurt people's feelings. 2 weeks?
But why? Because she said something.
Meghan McCain has said
way worse. Way worse shit.
Never suspended her.
People in general have said way worse shit, like across the board. And, let's not forget, like Matt Lauer had like a sex room in his office. People have done way worse.
Yeah.
So I understand what she was saying, because what you have to remember about the Holocaust, it wasn't just Jews in those camps. It was Jehovah's Witnesses who had their own colored triangle. It was gays who had their own colored triangle.
Gypsies.
It was gypsies who had their own colored triangle. It was people who were considered disabled.
Oh my God, yeah. If you had special needs, they sent them to the camp. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, if you were autistic, yeah.
Right. So she was trying to say that it wasn't pigmentation based. It was the ultimate form of the ultimate act of inhumanity against another human.
Right.
That's what she was trying to say.
Right.
Yeah, right.
I got it, and I was really surprised at how bananas that statement like blew. And again, if we're gonna rip somebody's career apart every time they say something, then what's the point in anybody learning anything or apologizing for anything? Your career is destroyed anyway. Then she should be like, "Go fuck yourselves," and I stand by it.
Yeah, that's the one thing. People aren't allowed to make mistakes anymore.
Right, and everybody's being hypocritical because everybody has said something fucked up in their life, and maybe they just weren't caught on tape or didn't say it publicly.
If the point is like, hey, it wasn't necessarily just based on pigmentation. Now, yeah, they absolutely saw Jews as a lower race.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Absolutely.
But yes, exactly, but most people know Jews as a religion. It has only in more modern times become accepted and understood that being Jewish is also a genealogy. There's a DNA for it that carries it. But it's also something you can join, like a religion. So you can join it or you can be born into it. So it's a race and ethnicity and a religion.
Yeah.
But because we're not discussing these things in schools and people are adamantly pushing back against learning these things, we're not learning these distinctions. And then people are saying things that are wrong and we're they trip up, and then we're losing the context of how bad what happened was in the first place because we're all fighting over how to word it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll bring him out.
Which is why one thing I think just if you and I had a media training type of thing for people, I think the number one thing you would tell people is just it's best to just not talk about the Holocaust.
Right, but
because unless you're an academic who studies it and can speak very very well about it because you know all the ins and outs about it, it's best to leave it alone. Because like I hate it when people try to compare something to the Holocaust or compare something to slavery. Nothing compares to the Holocaust other than actual genocide.
Nothing compares to either.
Nothing compares to slavery other than actual slavery. So
right.
So you shouldn't talk about these things unless, you know what I mean, unless you're making a absolute valid point about it. Because unless you're an academic, because you're probably going to fuck it up.
And I mean, again, I think the learnings evolve, right? Like we didn't know 100 years ago that Jews were a race. Most people do think it's a religion. So without context and education around it, you know, people don't know. And again, for me, I need to see a pattern of behavior. I don't care if any one person at any one time said gook or nigger or the one word. I don't care. It's a word. I want to see a pattern of behavior. I want to see your circle of friends. I want to see where you've been exposed. I want to know what kind of exposure to culture you have. Those things mean more to me than somebody saying a bad word here or there.